Okay, so this question is asking us to identify the type of growth that is shown. Um, Also, we are finding the expression that represents the growth pattern and the total number of squares in the sixth step in the pattern. So, as usual, my approach is just let's start by checking numbers. So, how many total squares do I have in each step? And so, in step one, come on, pen, I have, there are 2 squares. Step 2, I have 6 squares. Step 3, I have 12 squares. Quite similar to our previous question. So from 2 to 6, that's a plus 4. From 6 to 12, that is plus 6. And I'm just going to go ahead and draw step 4. And based on my observation of the pattern itself, here is what I noticed. So step 1 is a 1 by 1 and an extra square. Step 2, we have a 2 by 2 and 2 extra squares. Step 3, we have a 3 by 3 and 3 extra squares. So I'm going to guess that step 4, I'm going to have a 4 by 4 and an extra square. So I'm going to go ahead and construct my 4 by 4 first. And then we're going to do the extra column of squares. And I just need one extra column of squares that's extended. So there's that. So I have my 4 by 4 and that extra column. So 4, that's going to give me a total of 20 squares because 4 times 4, that's 16. So from 12 to 20, that's going to be a plus 8. Now, when I'm looking, there's no constant rate of change, but I notice for each time 2 is added to the rate of change, so there's a constant rate at which the rate of change is changing. So from 4 to 6, that's a plus 2. 6 to 8, that's a plus 2. So I know that this is showing quadratic growth. I could also put this in a table format where X is going to represent my step number and Y represents my total number of squares. And so step 1, 2, 3, 4. And step 1 has 2 squares. Step 2 has 6 squares. Step 3 has 12 squares. And step 4 has 20 squares. And just additionally, what I'm noticing so far, so that's a plus 4, plus 6, plus 8, but we're noticing that there's a constant rate of adding 2 to our rate of change each time. What does this look like in the pattern itself? So there is a square that is growing in size. First it's a 1 by 1, then it's a 2 by 2, then it's a 3 by 3, then it's going to be a 4 by 4, and then there's an additional column of squares. So there's a 1 by 1 here, there are 2 extra squares here, there are 3 extra squares here, and 4 extra squares on step 4. So if I were to draw what step n looks like, then what I'm noticing is for step n, I have an n by n square, and then I have one row of n squares. So my total is going to be given by the following expression, where my yellow is going to be my n by n, and my green, sorry about that, my green is representative of my 1 times n. So the expression that gives us this pattern is n squared plus n.